Good evening and welcome to Married and Singles Connect with Pastor Priska. Thank you so much for joining us today. I want to really thank you for making it a date with us. I promise that you will not regret joining us today. Today is actually marking a very significant beginning in this program. I know I've been holding our program for over almost 5 years now, but I am telling you something big is coming forth, and I am starting with this very important, all-important topic, common relationship problems among Christian migrant couples. It's beginning to be in fact, let us not go there. It's beginning to turn to something I don't understand, because everywhere you look, you see so many Christian migrants having issues, things that should not be, things that should not ordinarily be a problem is becoming a problem. Couples that, have been living very peacefully back there in Africa, and when they migrate to the Western world, they begin to have problem. And I've really taken time. I know I've done something. I've talked on this previously, but I also want to talk about it again. And I want you to know that I'm talking from the biblical perspective. See, if you're a child of God, if you're a Christian, your marriage, your relationship, everything that has to do with you has its rooting in the Word of God. And your marriage is actually God's project. Your marriage is very, very important to God. It is something that God wants to use to showcase His glory. God intends that a kingdom marriage is a place where the influence of the kingdom is exhibited. People, the husband and the wife, influence their children, with Bible principles, and raise godly kids, godly children, godly seed for Him. And so I've come to see some of the common problems that these people that has just migrated to the Western world, wherever it can be, UK, US, Canada, Austria, Ireland, wherever it is you are. And these contentions are really causing problem. Remember, the Word of God said that where there is contention, there is all manner of evil. And so because you don't want all these manner of evil to develop in your relationship, you need to be very, very careful. And you have to be very, very intentional about what you do and how you treat yourselves. And just look at it. Were you having these issues before? No. But right now, while men slept, the enemy is sowing these stars. And some of these things are things that should have been discussed maybe before you take your leave, or before you decide to migrate, or you just looked at it, you didn't think it's going to be a problem. But right now they are actually threatening to tear you apart. And you need to think about them. You need to talk about it. You need to address it before you make a serious mistake that you will regret later. And so most times we have a shift in gender roles, okay, in Western world, wherever it's possible, where you're coming from, wherever it is you're coming from, the wife was not doing a lot of work, and maybe she's a stay-home mom. You are just about the only one doing all the jobs. And yes, you have bought a house, you're not paying anything anymore. You have a house mortgage free. You have your own light. You can generate your own light, or you don't pay much. And then you have your food and all this. It's not so expensive. But when you have migrated, you discover that, the wife, her role has changed. She is no longer staying at home 24/7. Okay, she is not there anymore 24/7, and she has to also work. The gender role has changed, and it is going to cause a problem. Right now, you don't have that domestic help. Back home, you have domestic help that you can pay a little money, and they serve you well. Your wife is working, or she might not be working, and if she's working, she has that domestic role, domestic help, helping her out with some house chores. and she doesn't get tired. She still have time for you and the family, but right now she is left with all the chores in the house. She is also working. Her roles have changed. You need to take all these things into consideration. You need to sit down and talk about it and discuss it. Financial pressures are also there. You have to pay your bills. Those of you that come as students, you have to pay your school fees. You have to pay up maybe the money you borrowed. You came back. You came to wherever you're coming from or wherever you are. You might have been in debt, or you need to pay back some money. And some people will just come, they'll just remember, oh, I think it's time. Maybe they've not had any projects back home. They'll just say, oh, it's time. Yes, I've actually seen somebody that just got here and just believed that, okay, it is time for me to start building. And he just started buying houses. He's not even ready. Back home, the wife was taking care of everything. He was just living freelancely, He was just, on a normal day, he was just by himself. He was not supporting the wife. And when they got here, he thought he could continue. He had a very different thing coming, okay? Isolation and loneliness. And sometimes this place can be so lonely, in the sense that your families are not there. You don't get visits from people that you used to know. You don't get them visiting you as much as you can. You are getting lonely, and a lot of things might be creeping in, and it's becoming problematic, and your family is beginning to suffer. Communication is breaking down because you're hardly at home. Both of you are thriving to ensure that the bills are paid, the house is together. If you have children, most times, in fact, there were times when these parents have to exchange their children at the city center. The wife is going on a night shift, or the husband is going on a night shift. He's bringing the child to the city center on the buggy, and the wife, they don't have time. By the time he's coming back tomorrow, she is going away again. Communication is breaking down. There is stress, work schedules, cultural misunderstanding is setting there, and this is affecting communication. It is leading to very poor communication, and there is parenting stress. Okay, back home you can just parent your child the way you want, but no, you don't have to do that. You don't get to do that when you get to the Western world. And people, you have a standard. You have things, do's and don'ts, and this stress can just be coming on you, and before you know it, you are snapping. And you see, with all these things going on, you're going to decline spiritually. You just discover that you're declining. Your intimacy with God is going to decline, because you will not even have time for your private for your quiet time. You will not have very good fellowship with the Lord anymore, and it's going to eat into your spiritual life. It's going to eat into your word level. It's going to eat into your intimacy with God, and before you know what is going on, you are snapping. There is problem. Okay, this problem is going to, in fact, you'll be surprised that you're doing what you're doing.